How many times have you asked yourself, why do some men get everything, while others are left with nothing, enduring, waiting, hoping for a miracle that never comes? The truth is darker than you think. Those who wait, lose. In this video, you'll learn how to stop being a victim of your own illusions and start building relationships that actually work. Ones that bring real joy, not just false hope. The world doesn't care about your dreams, it only respects action. Ready to take control? Then keep watching. Your life is about to change, and once you see the truth, there's no going back. Nocturne's Journal, September 9th, 2024. In this world, the gap between men is becoming more and more obvious. Someone gets everything attention, respect, women fighting for the right to be near him. And someone is left with nothing, no likes, messages are ignored, rejections follow one after another. And that gap is only going to grow. The world belongs to the strongest. As for relationships, the future of each man can be predicted with amazing accuracy. Either a chain of relationship disappointments awaits him, or a chance to build a happy family that brings joy. It all comes down to one key factor, the ability to make cold-blooded decisions. From childhood, boys and girls learn together, and that's when the stratification begins. Girls gravitate towards the older, more confident ones, while boys grow up in an environment that molds helplessness in them. And when such a boy grows up, he is already afraid to show his true desires. When a man wants to meet a woman, he finds 1,000 reasons not to. He wants to tell her, "I like you," but his tongue slips and his mind finds excuses. In the end, he's left alone with his indecision. Now let's think back to your relationship. Do you remember when she left? In the back of your mind, you felt that you knew it would happen. After all, even before the breakup, the first warning signs began: coldness, loss of interest, conflicts. But you couldn't make a decision. You procrastinated until the last minute. If you had left first, you would have kept yourself, your power, your dignity, but you were afraid, hoping for the best instead of taking control of your life. Think of what could have happened in those long weeks or months of meaningless relationships that led you nowhere good. They were hundreds of new opportunities, new acquaintances, new experiences. You could have been on your way to something better, but you chose to stand still. Why? Because you put off the inevitable, because inaction seemed safe to you. But it was only an illusion of safety. Like a person who sits in a house with a leaky roof, putting a bucket under the raindrops each time instead of fixing the roof, even though he realizes that over time the crack will only get bigger and destroy the whole house. Now look where that's gotten you. She left and you were left broken, devastated, feeling weak. Every day you put up with her lowered your value lower and lower. Now you find yourself helpless. When a man finally decides to take action instead of sitting back, he opens doors in front of him that previously seemed locked. Instead of wallowing in misery, he has hundreds of opportunities to socialize, meet, and date. And with each new interaction, he gains experiences that make him stronger and more confident. It's like a practice fight. You're clumsy at first, but with each new attempt, your movements become more precise, your punches stronger. But the problem is that many men think about it when it's too late, when everything is ruined. It's like an old house that hasn't been renovated in years, ignoring the cracks in the walls. Now the walls are cracking at the seams, the roof is about to cave in, and there's nothing to do but tear it all down. A man loses a relationship, and now all he has to do is heal. But if he had seen these cracks earlier, if he had started to act as soon as he felt coldness and alienation on the part of the woman, everything could have been different. You have to fight for your right to be with someone who is really right for you. You have to take a stand, and society won't always support you. There are often times in a relationship when you have to make tough decisions to stand up for your rights to a better relationship. For example, you want a woman who will take care of you, not one who goes to nightclubs, listens to the advice of psychologists and ignores your opinion. You want her to cook, take care of you, but for this you need to give up illusions and compromises. The world around you will not always support you. Most people live by another imposed script, and they will judge your decisions. It's not an easy thing to do. But if you learn to make cold-blooded decisions, you'll start attracting women who will be invested in you. And that's when the magic happens. At first, you won't even believe it. A woman who never cared about her partners before will suddenly start trying for you. And when you ask her why she's doing it, she'll simply say she feels like it. She won't be able to explain in words, but she'll feel that you deserve it. But if a man doesn't learn to stand up for himself, he will find himself in a different reality. He will constantly suppress his desires, fall in love, suffer disappointments and the destruction of another relationship, and then lick his wounds, only to step on the same rake again. And that will become his vicious cycle. Men who are afraid to take action find themselves hostage to this scenario. They seek to please every woman, seek their approval, try to please every woman. Women sense this, and it destroys male attraction. Such men try to compensate for their insecurity with external attributes, expensive cars, branded things, ostentatious successes. But it doesn't work. They only become a resource that women use and throw away. And the worst thing is that at some point the worldview of such men, their beliefs become so firm that it is extremely difficult to change them. They find themselves at a point where they stop believing in the possibility of change. When a man is able to make cold-blooded decisions, he acts confidently and without delay, even in the most extreme situations. Such a man becomes practically invulnerable because he is ready to act decisively. In the context of love relationships, the main damage to the man is not at the time of divorce or separation. All the pain, all the severe consequences are the result of his prolonged inaction. The longer he procrastinated, the more he went adrift, the more damage he gets at the end. So he stays in a mediocre relationship that is highly likely to end in disappointment. In general, men are divided on one simple principle: those who are willing to make cold-blooded decisions and stick to their principles in any situation, and those who remain in the shadows, afraid to step outside their comfort zone. We live in a society where anyone who follows the first scenario will be condemned. If your principles don't fit within societal expectations, even if you aren't hurting anyone, you will be criticized and judged. This is something to be prepared for. Based on many years of experience and observations of women, I can honestly tell you that there are women with whom you should build relationships and really appreciate them. And there are those with whom relationships are unpromising and you should not tolerate them. But in society, there is an opinion that absolutely all women are worthy of love. And then the question arises, is it really possible to build a relationship with all of them? We are told, we are all different, everyone will find their soulmate. You just need to be patient, fight for relationships, even when they turn into torture, and everything will work out. But the truth has always been simpler and darker. Sometimes you have to face the cold reality. Not every woman is made for relationships. That's what men don't want to hear. The inner world of some women is so broken that no amount of work, no amount of effort will save them. And the most dangerous thing you can indoctrinate yourself with is the idea that someone is just not ready yet, that you can wait, give it a chance, and everything will be fine. It's self-deception that eats away at the soul. In this world, not everyone is meant to be happy. Not everyone can be a part of something greater. There are those who by nature are doomed to be alone, to constantly wander the dark corridors of their own reality. If you base your ideas about relationships on movies, books, or other people's stories, you're living in a fictional world. You hide behind the walls you've built yourself, trying not to look at the cracks that are already spreading across their surface. You close your eyes to reality because you're afraid of disappointment, afraid of facing the truth. But you know what happens? Your fragile structure will one day collapse and you'll be left among the shards of your delusions. Look at the truth. Look at the numbers. Most marriages that seem secure crumble like houses of cards. Most people who believed in happy endings are left alone, empty inside. And it's not a fairy tale. It's reality, cruel and merciless. It does not adjust to your desires. It does not give a second chance. Movies, TV shows, and books that talk about love sell you lies. because the truth is too bitter for most. But real life doesn't forgive those who ignore its laws. If you don't see reality for what it is, one day it will destroy everything you've tried to build. Men must stop being afraid, stop putting up with the pain they create for themselves, hoping for a miracle that will never come. Stop building relationships on hunches, on empty hypotheses based on other people's expectations. That's a road to nowhere. Start trusting what you yourself do. Act on the basis of your experience, your real results, not what you are dictated by a society full of lies. You're not in a fairy tale where everything works by magic. Here you either become the master of your destiny or a victim. Make a choice, either act or drown in the swamp of your own fears and inaction. End of entry.